Alright guys, we are back here for round 2 with the list that you see on screen. I did a little bit of a short deck tech in the intro where I talked about the small changes from where I was at previously on Amulet Titan. I'll give you a hint, it's not terribly different. We're here to play match 2 and see if we can go 2-0 in the league overall. So, with that said, let's jump straight into the match. Wow, that was the fastest pairing I've ever got. It literally just popped up and I immediately clicked to play. All right, play against Daniel Levi 24 on the play. Love it, love it. We have turn 2 Dryad and a Summoner's Pact. If we draw another Bounce Land or a Garen Brig, now Garen Brig would be one short if we don't keep our Dryad in play, but a Bounce Land or Garen Brig allows us to get to Titan mana. I think this is a keep. All right, so the classic Cavern of Souls naming Beast. One of my favorite turn 1 plays in the deck, Amulet Titan. Opponent, take note. This one is uncounterable. You can't counter it. You can't do anything about it. Imagine how OP that must feel to our opponent to know that they can't counter our Arboreal Grazer. Hopefully they're playing an aggressive deck and Grazer just blocks all day long. Llanowar Elves. Interesting. So we're playing its Elves, you say. There's a Titan, like a real Titan. We kind of wish we had drawn any land there, but that's cool. And here's a Bajuka Bog because we like lands. And we'll pass it back, not swinging with our Grazer. If our opponent wants to play like a 2-mana spell and swing in for 1, then we'll have that 1 point of damage covered, I swear to you. Alright, Garen Brig off the top. Let's go. Garen Brig. Garen Brig. Engineered Explosives. That one's kind of unfair. EE on 1 puts our opponent back on 2 mana, 1 from the Elf, and 1 additional from the fact that the Archdruid would tap for 1 less. We don't really care too much about this Grazer, and we just want to not die here, so I think maybe EE on 1 is gonna be the play. Done. And I think we're probably attacking with our Dryad here, too. We're not blocking with it, most likely, so yeah, let's just do this. We'd still like to draw a Garen Brig off the top, which makes me feel sad that we're only playing 3 Garen Brigs, which is why I don't really like cutting Garen Brig in general, is because it's always useful, even in situations such as this. Maybe that Engineered Explosives was a little premature, but I guess now our opponent has to spend their whole turn to cast a Collected Company, which, admittedly, this is still turn 3 Collected Company, which is pretty good. So if they have that, we could be in some trouble. I think that as long as we manage to get a Valakut into play with our Primeval Titan, we'll be golden here. We do need to draw some of those land cards, though. Opponent is passing it back, potentially, just holding up Collected Company here. Okay. That is not a land card. Deck, that is not a land card. Alright, I guess we're playing it for the blocking potential. We might require that effect. We're not attacking with our Dryad into our opponent's Collected Company, so let's pass it back, I guess. No point in Summoner's Pacting for and casting another Dryad or something like that, because then we'd be tapped out this upcoming turn with no possibility of casting Titan, which admittedly we probably already have no possibility of casting Titan unless we draw exactly Garen Brig. But even still, if we had drawn any land, we would at least have been able to cast this Pact Negation and be able to pay for it, but that's alright, though. We'll make do. Alright, your go. We have done the worst that our hand can offer. Collected Company. Yes, yes. This is a tale that I have heard before. Let's see what they hit. If they hit, like, a Shaman of the Pack or something, I actually wouldn't mind that much, because then I would just block the Shaman with the Dryad and, take a Lightning Bolt or something. Elvish Archdruid and Shaman of the Pack. That's pretty gross, actually, not gonna lie. I forgot that the Archdruid actually buffs their Shaman of the Pack, so we can't just trade with this one. I guess if it was a 4/3, we still wouldn't be able to trade, so never mind. Careful what you say, because it may come back to bite you. I mean, now we're definitely throwing this Grazer under the bus. This is why we played the Grazer out in the first place. Our opponent tapped everything and then untapped everything. Nissa. What does this one do? So 4 mana Planeswalker that starts at 4. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, it gets a loyalty counter. Plus, untap a land you control. It becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste. Its -5 is put a creature with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Okay. I mean, that's not fantastic for us, but okay. Is our opponent planning to minus here? That doesn't make any sense. Of course, I mean, they might as well go ahead and get their counters. What is this one? Okay, so 2 mana, 3/2. It's a cleric, rogue, and warrior, and a wizard. Interesting. It has kicker 3. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a card that shares a creature type with the Paragon from among those cards into your hand, and the rest go on the bottom, and it's a 3/2 creature. That one's pretty good. That does help our opponents to grind a bit, so I'm not sure if we're quite at the stage of grinding yet. We're really at the stage of please let us top deck Garenbrig. And if we don't find Garenbrig, we're probably dead here, so. Oh, they searched for Elvish Reclaimer. That is not one that I expected from our opponent, but of course it makes a lot of sense. Where are all of our opponent's card images? Oh, and now we're getting another creature into play with the minus ability. A Shaman of the Pack. Yikes. Well, we're not dead. We're definitely cashing in our Grazer for some blocking here. I mean, actually, I suppose we could save it to block this Shaman, but I think we're going to be dead anyways this upcoming turn, so. You know what, actually, let's just leave the Grazer, because if we're able to get some Valakut triggers, we might be able to gain more life than just 5 by blocking this larger Shaman of the Pack here, so. I suppose we might be putting ourselves dead to a additional copy of Shaman of the Pack here, but. And we did happen to draw the Garenbrig that we were desperately asking for, but I'm not sure that getting double Valakut here will actually allow us to win. We get 4 triggers from our 2 Valakuts, and we can send 1 at each Archdruid, 1 at the Reclaimer, and 1 at the Tajiro, I suppose. That might be good enough. We'll see. Alright, so a Valakut and Valakut. We can't go with a Vesuva because it won't enter as a copy of Valakut, as Valakut is entering the battlefield itself. It's not currently on the battlefield for itself to be copied. Let's see. We want to kill this Reclaimer probably, and finally, I guess we'll just hit the Shaman. The Shaman and the Paragon are basically the same card. It doesn't really make a difference while they're both on the battlefield here, so let's just hit the Shaman, I guess. Alright, we want to always, yes, both of these, and then always yield, of course. Yes. And we're not attacking, of course. How dare you suggest that to me? Nissa activation. Oh, not activation. To get an additional counter. Okay. Azuri. Okay. And I suppose, yeah, there's no way our opponent can get back the Shaman from the graveyard here, so I think we're looking pretty good here, thankfully, because of our god top deck of Castle Garenbrig. That was literally the only card in our deck that got us out of that situation, so maybe we can capitalize on it. Our opponent can use their green mana to regenerate their elves. I think that's probably fine. Oh, they get to attack with the forest here. Interesting. I suppose we could have Pact Negation the Azuri, but it's whatever. That one's not going to matter. Okay, so let's put the Titan in front of the 5/4. Let's put the Dryad in front of the 3/3, and the Grazer in front of this one. Wait, no. We want to kill the 3/2 if we can. There we go. Oh, the snow-covered forest can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So let's just put this in front of the 5/4 just in case we're missing something stupid. Actually, in that case, let's just not block with our Titan. Because if we untap, we're gonna win, so we don't need to worry about trying to get the Shaman off the battlefield, most likely. Especially since they can just regenerate it, so... yeah, this is probably fine. Man, we are so close to dead here. And this ability is 5 mana, so... Here come the regenerates. Yep. Alright. I think we got him. Another Dryad. Let's just go straight to combat. Attack them. Attack them. Yep. Yes. And here we get a Vesuva and a Bounce Land. Let's get a Growth Chamber because I like Simic Growth Chamber. And we'll save targets, all these Valakut triggers upstairs. That is the name of the game here. We're going to have to always yes one of these Valakuts as the newest one just came into play. That's fine. Who am I to complain about that? Pick up our Growth Chamber. Yep. Alright, so we managed to squeak by game 1 here. That's always great news. Maybe our explosives on one play was actually correct after all. It slowed them down just enough for us to get there. Could be. We'll bring in our explosives and dismembers, obviously. I don't know if our opponent would be playing Aether Vial. I'm kind of getting the idea that they would not be playing Aether Vial. They're playing black, so they could be playing Ashiok. Perhaps we want Beast Within for that. We can also Beast Within like a Elvish Archdruid or something. I think that probably is one of their more scary cards against us. So we'll bring in a pair of Beast Withins. It's probably fine. We can trim some Explorers. Maybe not too many, though, as our opponent could be playing Thoughtseize effects. This Negation and this Bog are awful. So is Cavernous Souls. Probably both the Cavernous Souls can go, although it is a turn 1 source for Grazer, which is not the worst. What else? What else? We can trim... I don't know. We just have 2 extra cards, and I don't know what else I want to trim. I think that it's probably important to have a lot of copies of Summoner's Pact, so we can trim 1 Explorer, I suppose. Maybe we don't want these Beast Withins at all, actually. We could trim both Beast Withins and bring in Explorer and something else. Do I want to play around our opponent having Ashiok? I think we should. I actually think that we should. So, in that case, we can trim a Turn Timber, I suppose. That doesn't seem too bad. We're kind of low on lands here, but hopefully that should be fine. If our opponent has any interaction for our lands, like a Ghost Quarter, it's probably a 1-of that they can search for off of their Reclaimer. And this hand is looking like it might be quite insane if we top deck a Titan here. We don't have a turn 2 Titan quite yet, but we're very close to it. If we draw a Grazer and then a Titan, then, or like an Azusa and then a Titan, then we... Actually, does an Azusa do it? I don't think so. I don't know, we'd have to see. Turn 1, Llanowar Elf. Okay. Turn 1, Amulet. Go ahead. We might run into some sad times if our opponent just YOLO slams an Ashiok this turn. That would be pretty awful, but... Or if they have interaction for an Amulet. I think we might be able to survive that. That might be fine. Dwynen's Elite. That one is fine with me. 2/2, that makes a 1/1 elf. So quite a good card, I'm not going to lie. I happen to be a big fan of that card. But right now, we're not really afraid of the pressure that our opponent's putting out. The third Amulet, huh? Is that what we're doing? Okay, well, we'll play Amulet. We might hold... Actually, I suppose once we have 2 in play, there's no reason to hold Amulet in hand. Let's 5 to make sure we have no yields. Play out a Growth Chamber here. Come on. And we're going to start off by cycling Explore, because if we can draw a Titan, then we'll be able to put it into play this very turn. We'll leave the Growth Chamber in place since we can play Vesuva as a copy of it. Here's the Explore. Titan. Come on, Titan. Ooh, Engineered Explosives. That one's kind of interesting. I don't know what we would want to play that one on, like what number. Playing it on 1 to blow up their lone Llanowar Elf doesn't seem like the best possible line here, so instead, I'm going to play out a Forest and a Dryad and Valakut. And that's all we have for this turn. There's probably no reason to play out this third Amulet, so especially if we do find ourselves needing to Explosives on 1, we can save this Amulet in reserve. In fact, if our opponent did something crazy like Force of Negation both of our Amulets, and then we can Explosives on 1 and blow up all their 1-drops, and then just drop our third Amulet, that might be pretty insane, so... Our opponent is going to Collect Accompany us. Ooh, does that do it? I think that does it. We're going to be floating a ton of green this turn, so let's just play our third Amulet. You know, the casual, let's just play our third Amulet, guys. That's pretty good, right? Even without our Dryad in play, we'd still be able to get all of our Primeval Titans from... Not all of them. We only get 2 Primeval Titans in play, I think, because we've drawn our Tolaria West, and we have to use that to get this whole combo chain thing rolling. And let's pick up the, I guess, the Vesuva. How guaranteed is it that we're winning the game this turn? Because I'm not sure that it's totally guaranteed. We may not want to go for more than 1 Summoner's Pact here, actually. Let's definitely get the Summoner's Pact, of course. But if our opponent goes for a Dismember on our Dryad, then we're only attacking for 12, and there's not much that we can do about it. It's kind of awkward. We'll play our Titan. Abrupt Decay Dryad. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. So now what? We can get... I guess we just haste here. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Because we can't get Tolaria West and something else. Suppose we could get Tolaria West on Hanweir and float 6 from those lands, play Vesuva as a copy of Growth Chamber, pick up the Tolaria West, transmute for Dryad, and then be able to haste our Titan after. I think that works. And then we're attacking for 6... Plus, it'll be... Vesuva won't be copying Valakut, so it'll be 2 Valakuts with 2 lands entering play. It'll be 4 triggers. That's 12. And it's not even guaranteed lethal, because our opponent can just block. So I think we're supposed to just let this resolve, haste it, and attack with it like normal, get our Tolaria West all set up. You know, all nice and proper here, and let that be good enough. Try to make ourselves not dying to double Summoner's Pact this upcoming turn. I think that's our best bet here. So here we'll get Valakut and Onweir to haste, of course. Now, the question is, do we want to play explosives out here? And if so, what number do we want to put it on? That is a difficult question to answer, if I'm being completely honest. Because I kind of would want to put it on 3 to get rid of some Archdruid or Azuri type plays, but that doesn't feel like the best possible option, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, we can only put it on 1 anyways, actually, with the way our mana is set up. We don't want to blow up all of our amulets, though, most likely. So let's play explosives on 1, just to get it out of our hand. Actually, you know what? Cancel. We're going to have plenty of mana going forward, so let's just let this be. Alright, now we can set up our Talari West. We have a bounce land in hand, but do we want an additional bounce land anyways? I mean, if we get a bounce land, then we are not playing around like something that just straight up destroys our land. I don't know if our opponent has anything that does that without replacing our land with a basic land, so we probably don't need to worry about that. Could get Field, could get Breeding Pool. Breeding Pool's not the worst. We're going to have plenty of mana to transmute this upcoming turn, so I think it's probably fine to just get TOS Breeding Pool. I'm not sure there's anything we're losing to there. If we don't lose our Titan, then we can just kill our opponent with Valakut this upcoming turn, so we won't need to worry about getting additional bounce lands, but in all honesty, I think that there's a small possibility that our opponent kills our Titan, and then we're going to want a bounce land in hand to go along with the Dryad, most likely. So for that reason, I'm just going to pick up another copy of Growth Chamber here, I think. Could get Rot Farm so we can EE up to 3. I guess that's probably better. We'll get Talari West and Rot Farm. Alrighty. I'm going to let these untaps go through. And here, we'll just pick up the Growth Chamber, I think. And I'm not quite inclined to play out this Engineered Explosives just yet. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could do here. I don't think it matters really all that much what we do, but let's just pass it back, I guess. Should be fine. Collect a company. Even double Shaman of the Pack is not good enough here, I think. We lose 10, then get clocked for 3, so that's 13. We'd still be at 6, so that doesn't even do it. Archdruid and Azuri. Okay, now we can play and blow explosives on 3 if we want to. Yeah, all this is fine. Alright, so let's pay for this little pack trigger here. Alright, let's put with our TOS, play a Growth Chamber. Our opponent is not holding up any black mana, or any mana for that matter at all, so we're totally safe to go for our Dryad plan here, and then our opponent is most assuredly dead. So, Transmute. We'll grab Summoner's Pact. Our opponent, I suppose, could have something crazy like Slaughter Pact. Do we want to play and blow explosives before we do this to play around that? Let's see, if we do that, it would take 5 mana, so we actually wouldn't be able to play Dryad if we tried to play around that, so let's just Summoner's Pact for our Dryad. Might as well haste our Dryad, I suppose. play a additional copy of Valakut here, and save all the targets up at our opponent, and stack these amulets, and our Valakuts will auto-stack. And now we get the chance to always yes to all of these before we have tons and tons of triggers. And let's just yield to this. Might as well float and haste our Dryad, because why not? Go to combat. Attack. Yes. Let's get a Gruul Turf, and okay, our opponent's just going to go ahead and concede because they don't want to see all those triggers on the stack. All right, well, yet another 2-0 match. Very strong lead so far with Amulet Titan. Let me know what you guys thought about that match in the comments below. Was it a little too risky for me to pull the explosives on one trick against our opponent game 1? Or was that the right play? I don't really know. I'd have to look back at it myself, and even then I'm not sure that I could get the exact correct answer there for you guys. But let me know what you think. And let me know what you think about the list. Are you playing a list that's similar to this? Do you also agree with me that Grazer is just the light? Have you not seen the light and you still think that Sakura Tribe Scout is better than Grazer? Because if that's the way it is, then you're wrong. I'm sorry. You're just wrong. Also, I want to remind you that if you were entertained by this content, if you learned something from it, then go ahead and show your support by leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all those good things, interacting with me and all of the other people that are currently watching this channel, which is not very many. Just a spoiler alert there. It warms my heart, and I like to see that kind of thing going on in the comments, and I respond to all the comments that I get. So anyways, I'm not going to say any more about that, and I will see you guys for the next match. This is Redface Menace, signing off.